Okay, what's the joke? We're going to be entertained with some jokes.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired by now, so we need some. Alright, I'm Sunat, and I never seem to get any jokes. Never. So last week, I was in my apartment building. I was downstairs, waiting for the elevator to go upstairs, and this guy rushed past me into the elevator, and being the good guy that I am, I asked him, what floor? To which he replied, 7th, beam me up, Scotty. And believe it or not, I said, excuse me, my name is Sanat, not Scotty. So the point is, I never seem to get jokes. Whenever I'm hanging out with my friends, they're talking about different stuff, starting from music to music videos, bands, and mostly American television. They're talking about Lost, they're talking about X-Files, they're talking about Star Trek, and I never seem to get the jokes. I feel like an outsider. I feel like I'm not a part of this group. Actually, it's not me. It happens everywhere. Famous media theorist Henry Jenkins points out the fact that media convergence, or television these days, has formed this culture, or fan cultures, where people have made their own subgroups. They identify themselves with the media that they are following. And humor is the secret code that they share between them. So if you learn the humor, you are essentially being a part of this culture. So it's simple. You want to be a part of the culture, you learn humor in media. I would say, let's learn humor in sitcoms. Why sitcoms? 52% viewers' preference. 20 out of 50 highest rated shows on IMDb, there are sitcoms. 7 out of 10 most tweeted shows of last year were sitcoms. So I'd say everything is so simple. You're interested in culture, you learn from sitcoms, and become a part of culture. The question is, how do you deliver such rich, immersive content for such a complex thing as humor? My solution is to provide a second screen application. It's a fact, 87% of users use another device while they're watching TV. And this promises a 26% higher engagement than solo viewing. So I decided to make Giggles, a companion app for uncovering inside jokes in cult TV sitcoms. There's no app out there right now. So before I jumping into the design, I did this market research. I found out network-specific apps like Conan or Nickelodeon app, they provide you very rich additional content, but they do not customize them for you. They do not help you discover new features. But cross-network apps like Wiggle and Beamly, they are very good at personalization and they are very good at discovery, but they do not provide you rich content. There are generic apps like Shazam that use audio tagging to sync your TV shows with the app, and there is Yahoo's Into Now, which helps you make cultural memes and share it with your friends from the TV show that you're watching right away. So I started doing the user research. My user group was mostly millennials that were like 18 to 30 years of age, and I got 60 responses to the survey I sent out. The most important issue of comprehending jokes is the fact that jokes went by so fast, they could not catch up, and connecting with the characters. So what did they do then when they could not connect to the characters? They went out on the internet to search for the additional information. And 40% of the users used a smartphone or a tablet. So what did they search for? They searched for hidden meanings, they searched for character info and recurring jokes, or Easter eggs, something that's happening in the background. I made my personas to focus on my goals and tasks at hand, and to understand goals, from all the study that I've done so far, I understood numerous, there are so many goals. There are goals like understanding local references or getting the characters, but they're mostly dependent on the variables. And number of variables is dependent on, like the experience of the viewer, the type of activity he's doing. He's trying to actively search for the humor, or he's doing an expectation task. An expectation task is somewhere you want the app to tell you about the jokes. And there are timing of the interaction. So the goals depend on the variables. So instead of making a task analysis grid, I ended up making a task analysis graph, where I could understand in the z-axis you can see the experience of the viewer, and the y-axis you can see the time of interaction. Is it before the show, or during the show, or after the show? And this revealed a very nice picture right here. You can see the naive users doing the exploratory task before the start of the show, whereas the seasoned user is doing the explicatory task after the show, and that is in fact searching for metadata like viewing bloopers or gag reels after the show is over. But these roles are reversed during show times. You can see that the naive user who is new to a show is actually doing explicatory tasks. So he wants the app to tell him about the humorous content in the show, whereas the seasoned user then doing the exploratory task, he tries to find out the jokes and he shares it with his friends outside. Data helped me to focus on the design process, and I chose Arrested Development because of its complex narrative. There are layers of jokes hidden inside it. If you do not pay attention, you might miss out on a lot of jokes. And there is a segregation of jokes inside. There are recurring gags that happen over and over again. There is Easter eggs. There are references to other shows outside Arrested Development, and there is foreshadowing, like hinting on something that's going to happen in the future. Before I started to design, I made the storyboard where I made sure that the new user gets a chance to do exploratory tasks as he levels up and goes to a next level up. And then when he gets to become an experienced user, he starts doing the social aspect of it. He starts to share it with other people, then I did the visual mock-ups. I did it on After Effects and showed it to my peers in HCI and got the heuristic evaluation and said, this laid out a foundation for my overall design. I will give you a demonstration of a prototype. It starts off with onboarding. It tells you about what are the different things in the application. So after you're done, you hit got it, and it takes you to the landing page, where you can see the characters and the jokes appear as soon as they appear in the TV show. The color on the cards of the jokes that appear here are actually the types of the joke that I classified before. And then you go to the detail views, where if you want to see a detail of a joke, you can just click on it and it gives you the description of the jokes and all the references that have occurred before. And you can also know more about a character by clicking on it. And that gives you snippets about the character and favorite quotes of the character so far and all the favorite moments of the character. You do not need to view the jokes right away. You can save it for later. If you don't want to get distracted, you can just drag and drop the jokes into the bookmark panel and save it for later viewing. This helps the app to learn about the kinds of jokes you're also interested in. Next, we have the game mode. This is more for exploration. People want to discover jokes rather than be told about the jokes. So you tap on the screen whenever you find something funny in the show, and at the end of the episode, or if you click on how many did I get, it tells you the number of jokes you got in that time. And when you click what did I miss, it tells you about the joke that you missed. There's a snapshot feature. Make cultural memes and share it with your friends. So I started with my evaluation. The evaluation was done between 14 participants. 7 of them were native English speakers, and 7 of them were non-native with English as their second language. And these had different level of experience with Arrested Development as a show. One interesting thing is that I asked them, what percentage of jokes do you think you get in a comedy show? And everybody said that they got about 90% of the jokes, which is something I needed to test. Are they actually getting that many jokes as they claim to get? So I did this game mode again with them, and interestingly, I found out on an average, they could get only 45% of jokes in an episode. So this, again, you can see that percentage of jokes they understood increased with their experience of the show. Like, it also supported my premise in the first place, saying that non-native users do get less number of jokes than native users. So what does that mean? That means that using this app, you can get more number of jokes. Non-native participants or non-native users can get more number of jokes. There's a few other findings, and this is supported by the fact that non-native participants said that they would use this app to find references and follow the storyline, because otherwise they found it difficult to find references, catch up with what's going on. Then there are different design pain points. Most importantly, the bookmark button, the drag interaction was not well received by the participants. The color of the card, they said, we'll like to use icons instead of colors. And you can also see the fact that the naive participants could get easily distracted and they appeared confused with what's going on the show. So I did an affinity diagram. I took all the screens and put it on the whiteboard. And I put red post-it notes to notify the pain points, yellows for concerns and feedback, white for the green ones for positive feedback, and the blue ones are this design recommendation. And this helped me paint a picture of how do I progress with the design. One thing, like I said before, they were not really satisfied with the color of the card. They wanted to use the icons instead of colors. Other thing is, the bookmark button looked more like a more information button. I did not know that they had to click and drag it to the bookmark panel. And so this needed to be changed. Another interesting thing that I found out during the evaluation study is that the modal window over there that pops up every time you click on a detail of a joke is usually over there, and participants forget to dismiss of the modal window because the target area over there is a small cross in the corner. And this created interruptions while using the app. So what my redesign of Giggles promised a more seamless interaction where you do not have modal windows that open up. Everything should be smooth and everything should be workable with gestures. So this is the proposed interaction model that happens in the new app. So you do not have to open any modal window. If you swipe up, you can get more the details of the joke. If you swipe down, you get the character information. If you swipe further down, you can get the detail of the family. So you get a gist of the entire show. So this visual design follows the same interaction principle. You can see I have replaced the bookmark tab by the more familiar star icon. You can see the color of the cards were removed. Some participants pointed out that they could not recognize the cartoon characters as faces, so I replaced it with the real photos. There's a number of changes here. So this is a joke detail view in a form of visual design. And this is a character view. So you have a character map that helps you know about different characters. And you can click on character and find the details about them. While doing that, you're also not missing out on the jokes because the jokes are still in the bottom. So the future work involves implementation. It involves the testing of the new design and also sync with media providers like Netflix or Hulu. And automated content creation. The content should be recycled within the app. So for naive users getting the content, when they get experience, they're going to share the content back to the same source. So this maintains a continuity inside builds an ecosystem where you can share jokes among yourself, and this can be extended to different media other than sitcoms. Thank you.
Forgive me if I just missed during the presentation, but your scale of experience from naive to seasoned and all that, was that specifically with this sitcom Arrested Development, or with sitcoms in general, or something else?
So I chose Arrested Development for my demo, and my participant group was with Arrested Development. So
okay.
3 were none and naive and mid-level, and 5 were experienced participants.
You did the testing yourself with